Wait, what are you doing?
I'm putting the smaller one on.
Why?
Because you said the big one's hurt.
I didn't mean that. That one should be fine.
This one's huge.
It's not that big.
What? Should have taken the other four-wheeler. What's up, guys? So first and foremost, I want to thank Bauer Precision for bringing out the M4 lower that we were able to shoot on my 300 Blackout to get all those super sweet full auto clips for you. So huge shout out to those guys. But why is nobody talking about these suppressors? I mean, this is what we're talking about today, but I haven't found hardly anything on YouTube aside from some people shooting them at like silencer conventions and events and stuff, but nobody has really done a review on any of these. So that's what I'm gonna try and do for you here today. So first and foremost, what's my relationship with Radical Defense? There really isn't one. They follow me on Instagram, if you would consider that to be a relationship. When I got my CS-3, this is the first can I bought from them. I didn't even buy it direct from them. And I posted a couple pictures and tagged those guys, and they followed me. And I've talked to someone from Radical a couple times here and there, but there was no exchange of money. I purchased these with my own money, and I'm not being paid to make this video. So today we're gonna be talking about the Radical Defense CS-3 and LS-3. Both of these are 30 cal suppressors, although the LS-3 is specifically designed for 300 Blackout. I'll put the stats up for each of these on the screen now. So first we'll go with the CS-3 and then the LS-3. Both of these suppressors, I opted for the Haynes 282 material, which is supposed to be full auto belt fed rated. I wanted to throw them on the gun and essentially never have to worry about them. They do offer both of these suppressors in titanium. So if that's more your interest or suits your needs better, they do have that. Both of these suppressors are 3D printed through a process called, I believe it's additive manufacturing. So what it allows them to do, unlike your traditional suppressors or welded ones, is it allows them to put this super cool pattern. It's essentially just a bunch of triangles on the outside. It's nothing crazy, but I think it adds a different aesthetic to the suppressor when you mount it up to a gun. It just breaks it up from the monotony of smooth metals and finishes. There's an obvious difference in size between the LS-3 and the CS-3, mainly in length, but also the CS-3 is a tiny bit wider than the LS-3. And you can kind of tell a little bit better at the base. Now I do have both of these suppressors mounted up with a reared-in Atlas hub mount. They are hub compatible. And this is, the rear ends are a, I believe it's Q's Bravo type mount. So they slide over the muzzle device and you just twist it on. Just for reference, I'm using the reared-in SPB muzzle device in all of the shooting clips for both of the suppressors. As far as weight goes, the CS-3 came in on my scale at 530 grams or 18.69 ounces. And the LS-3 came in at 581 grams or 20.49 ounces. Now, like I mentioned, they do make these in titanium. I wanna say that the titanium ones are about half the weight or close to half the weight of the Haynes 282 material, but it's a compromise for essentially a very liberal firing schedule. You can dump these things full auto and never have to worry about them, but obviously that comes with a little bit of weight. Now both of these suppressors are a reduced back pressure design. They have little ports on the end. They're kind of hard to see. They're right here, tiny little ports that at first glance you wouldn't think really do anything, but I didn't get gassed out at all when shooting these, both the CS-3, the LS-3, and I did get the opportunity to shoot my LS-5, which is Radical's 5.56 long suppressor. It's currently in jail, but the boys at Bauer brought it out for me to shoot. But I didn't get gassed out when shooting any of these. And I'll put some other clips in there. So we shot also an RC2 and a couple other suppressors, and everybody seemed to have a hard time with gassing, except for these. So again, these opinions are my own. I'm just presenting you with my experience on these. I would thoroughly encourage you to do your own research on these suppressors. All I want to convey here is my experience, and it's been great so far. As far as sound suppression for these guys, the CS-3 has a very obvious first round pop. The first round comes out the barrel, there's a very obvious pop, bang, it sounds much louder. But every round after that, I promise you, it is not just a microphone, it really is that quiet. There's a very loud first round pop, but after that, it's extremely quiet. This, in comparison, so I don't have a lot of 30 cal suppressors. In fact, the only one that I have is a Sandman K, but this CS-3 is the same size as the Sandman K, but it is immensely quieter than it. So first round pop is a thing on the CS-3, but honestly for me, it's not that big of a deal. With the LS-3, there is no first round pop. It's quiet every round, even the first, and I would almost go so far as to say, to the human ear, a first round pop aside from the CS-3, that they are very, very close. To be clear, I'm talking about from the shooter's perspective, what the suppressor sounds like. Although I do understand that the bystander's perspective is important too, I don't think that you guys are necessarily buying suppressors for other people, at least not solely. So from the shooter's perspective, they sound very, very close. From the bystander's perspective, I would say that the crown would definitely go to the LS-3. It's just a longer suppressor. It's designed to be more quiet. I don't have a decibel reader, and they're kind of finicky anyway, but between the two of them, since I'm not really concerned about first round pop, I personally would probably, and I do, keep the CS-3 mounted up to my 30 cal, or to my 300 blackout, more often than I do the LS-3. Just purely based on size. I also, I prefer the diameter of this one. It sounds weird, but this kind of looks thin and long on the end of your barrel versus the shorter, girthier CS-3. Now I did shoot these under night vision. I'll put up the clips for it right now. The LS-3 had pretty much no flash. The CS-3, there was a first round flash and pop, of course, but after that, I didn't hardly see anything to my eyes. Through the night vision, it's gonna look a little bit different. You're gonna be able to see a little bit more out of the CS-3 and a little bit better performance out of the LS-3 as far as muzzle flash goes when shooting under night vision. Now for reference, when I was shooting night vision, I was using S&B 200 grain subsonic ammo. You may be able to get better performance out of different ammo. That's just what I had on hand at the time. Both these suppressors are a win in my book. Obviously the LS-3 being a little bit longer is gonna perform better, but I think the CS-3 definitely held its own. So taking everything into account, the full auto rating, the sound suppression, the low back pressure, 3D printed, the additive manufacturing, the hub compatibility, and everything that you get with these suppressors, all of that, and the CS-3 is only $850, and the LS-3 is only $899. Now you might think, okay, well, what about titanium? They're the same exact price. Whether you get it in the Haynes 282 or titanium, both of these suppressors are the same price. The shorter version is $850, the longer version is $899. That also goes for their 5.56 lineup of suppressors, the LS-5 and CS-5. Now when you compare that to something like the PTR, which is a fantastic suppressor, don't get me wrong, this is a titanium can, but this starts at $14.99. So if you get the 5.56 version in titanium, you essentially get all of the characteristics and all of the performance that a PTR has for almost half the price. Now my 5.56 LS-5 should be here potentially this week, and I am gonna put it head to head with the PTR. For what you get out of these suppressors, I think the price is more than fair. When you compare it to some other cans that are on the market and all of the performance and all of the statistics and all of the stuff that they have going for them, they're usually above $1,200, sometimes $1,500 mark, whereas these are under $1,000. You might be wondering how Radical prices their suppressors. They're titanium, the same as their 282, and I asked them this. So they said that the price difference as far as cost for them between Haynes and titanium was so negligible to the point where they didn't feel like remembering all these different pricing or all this different pricing for all these different suppressors, so they just made them the same price. Now Radical as a company owns the machines to manufacture these suppressors, so that's how they were able, or that's how they're able to sell these at the price point that they do. They do manufacture suppressors for several other companies, but they make these in-house with their own machines. Now I am gonna address something that has come about online when I've posted about these before. Radical Defense and Radical Firearms are sister companies. I'm aware, or I have seen reviews and heard things online about Radical Firearms, but I'm not speaking on behalf of that. I'm simply telling you my experience thus far with Radical Defense and their lineup of suppressors. Now that's all I got for you guys today. If you get the opportunity to shoot one of these at a convention or something like that, I would highly suggest that you take it. If you're considering purchasing one of these and you're watching this video to determine whether or not you should, you certainly have my endorsement, but please do your own research and make sure that they check all of the boxes that you are looking for in a suppressor. But as far as my experience goes thus far, it has been great, and they both get my endorsement for what that's worth. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. It should be about the Radical LS-5 and a head-to-head with the PTR, depending on when that gets approved, or it might also be about the Tommy built T7 whenever that comes in. So either way, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. These flies are outrageous, dude. Oh my God.